Let's call the meeting to order. Pledge of allegiance.
No. Commissioner Coletta? Here. Commissioner Mano?
Here.
Commissioner Means?
Here.
Commissioner Schmidt?
Here.
Commissioner White?
Here. Everybody please make it.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, so this meeting is the bond issuance notification. It is a public hearing concerning the intent for the Park District and the Board of Commissioners to sell up to $1.2 million in general obligation limited tax bonds. This is how we fund our capital. In the back here, you'll see that the memo attached, we are looking for to fund the interest and principal payments for Oreo pools, to upgrade playgrounds to Mansfield and Austin Park, new exercise equipment for the fitness center, new stake truck, utility cart, tractor, and a 15-person van. So if there is anyone in the public that would like to make a comment, they are free to do so now. No comments? Okay. So, we just need to,
No. That's at the next meeting.
That's the next one? Okay,
Yeah.
great. All right. Green. Oh, they're right, so right. Sorry, my mistake. So, moved for adjournment out of the bond hearing?
Make a motion to adjourn the bond issue notification act meeting.
I'll second.
Second by Paul.
Thank you. Commissioner Mano?
Aye.
Commissioner Means?
Aye.
Commissioner Schmidt?
Here.
Commissioner White?
Aye.
Commissioner Coletta? Aye.
Okay.
We can. No, we don't need it.
So we can just move on to the second item. Additional changes to the agenda. So there is one change that I'd like to make, and that is to switch out number 3 and number 9. So that's citizens' comments. So we would ask that if any citizen has a comment, that they can do so on agenda items at the beginning. So that would be the third item. Number 9 would be public comment on non-agenda items. Okay. And I thank you to Paul and Keith for bringing that to my attention. I think that's a great idea. I appreciate that oversight for that. So, number 3.
Citizens comment on non-agenda items correspondence.
Anybody like to make comments? All right. Next item, consent agenda.
Yep, I got it. Consent agenda. Approval of the minutes for September 20th, 2018 board meeting.
And I have the financial reports that include the cash summary, review report dated September 30th, 2018, the invoice distribution report ending September 30th, 2018, the amount of $97,003.30.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Commissioner Meeks?
Aye.
Commissioner Schmidt?
Aye.
Commissioner White?
Aye.
Commissioner Coletta? Aye. Commissioner Mano?
Aye. Next item is approval of the financial reports.
That's
Director's report.
Yeah, a few items that of interest, I think, is worth mentioning. So tomorrow night, the village is having a neighborhood outreach meeting at National Field House, and the village was kind enough to extend an offer to the Park District to be there. So Geraldine and Keith and I will be at Mansfield between 6:30 and 7 o'clock. So anybody can ask any questions of us. It was really nice that the village included us.
I believe it's 6 o'clock.
Oh, right, I'm
6
sorry.
o'clock.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's 6 to 7:30.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And at
Right.
National.
National Field House, right. Did I not?
Yes,
I
you
said
did.
Mansfield, I'm sorry.
Then you said Mansfield.
Yeah, right, my mistake, yeah. So the next one is Mansfield. We're on Monday, October 22nd at 6:30 at Mansfield Park. We're having a playground community input meeting, something very similar to what we did at Pioneer Park last year. So we have several concepts for residents to weigh in on for the replacement that we will go out to bid here in the fall, winter time, and then start in the springtime, hopefully as soon as the weather breaks, to replace that playground. I do also believe that Keith is going to be going out to the preschool at Mansfield to get the participants over there, get their input on what they like as well, so that should be pretty interesting. Saturday, from 3 to 6 here at the Prairie View Community Center, we're doing the Halloween Family Fest. So one of our bigger special events, it's a free event, so we see a lot of people come into this. We have various activities for participants to take in. So it's a great event if you have an opportunity, come on out. And I just want to remind everybody that the board meeting for November is not on the third Thursday, it is on the 2nd, so it's November 14th. And we made that decision back in April to move it up so that we wouldn't conflict with holiday travels for Thanksgiving and everything. So just to mark that on your calendar.
But it's a Wednesday.
It is still Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You said Thursday.
Did I? Yeah. My head is just not in.
Everybody's out of it.
Yeah, I'm on something
I
completely
did it
different.
before.
So the last time was the last change we made. So again,
Yeah, but you had to
yeah.
say-
So if I'm confusing, please go to the
Yes.
website. It's right in there. So sorry about that.
Is that it?
That concludes my report.
Attorney's report?
Yeah, Steve wanted me to just give you a little bullet point of what he's been working on. So he's offered several opinions on various topics for us. He has finalized the shared service agreement that is, the village has already approved that. That's on your agenda for tonight. We're working on the prairie stewardship agreement. So we have, prairie stewards that help us maintain the park or the prairie. In my weekly update to you, there's going to be a request for some direction because we might be hitting a roadblock. So I just want to get some of your feedback before we proceed any further. And then he's reviewed the board packets and everything seems to be in order. Okay, and that concludes his report.
Department head reports?
Yep. So I know they probably wish this would go away, but I kind of like it. So Keith, why don't you go first?
Well, we had the rededication of Pioneer Park a couple weeks ago, and by the amount of people that attended, I think we had a really good turnout and a lot of good comments. And people were out there on that Saturday. We repaired the totem pole over at the museum, and the guys who actually were out there doing the work on it, they got a lot of compliments from people who were walking through the park on how nice it looked. So if you had a chance to see it since we finished all the repairs on it, next time you're in the area, go check it out. It's really good. You guys did a great job. And we started our orb construction for this year. That's underway. And we're winterizing, just pretty much almost finished. We're winterizing Oriole and hard pools for the year.
Great, and I would use that example of Pioneer Park, how wonderful it was to have public input, because I think the finished product is something that really is a lot better than what we originally had planned, because we combined two concepts, as well as adding the toddler swings, which we didn't think would, was something that was needed, but the community said, it would be nice to have swings, and because of the safety zone that's needed around the swings, the toddler swings were the best that we could do. But overall, I think it's great. We still have a few more things to kind of do with landscaping, planting flowers around the entrance and stuff like that. But yeah, they did a wonderful job, and Keith and his guys, perfect job for that Saturday morning. So, thank you, Keith. Marty,
Yes.
you're up.
Oh, okay. Well, we're in the process of, we've completed the financials for 2017-18. Ron will speak on that in a few minutes. We're switched over. We're out of AEK completely now. We're into a new software, BSNA, and we're running our financials as well as our budget out of that new system. We expect to be, there's quite a few things coming up in the next 2 months. We have November 14th is when we're going to do a budget presentation. We're also going to cover the tax levy so that we can have a 30-day presentation of the tax levy before final adoption, and as well as the appropriation ordinance. So we have a very busy November 14th, which will be Wednesday or Thursday, whenever Jeff decides to come in. And then we'll have December. So.
Great.
I like the new look on the financials.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's gonna now not have to
It's
worry
easier.
about being maintained.
Well, it's easier to read.
Yeah. Laura?
Okay, we had our quarterly random drug pool in early October, went well. Finished the compensation and salary range surveys, as you can see in there. That was, glad that's over. We had the last meeting with Paderma as far as the review last Friday. So we should be expecting our final score first part of November. But the preliminary numbers were very good, so.
And being very good, what does that give us?
Well, from the preliminaries, it was over a 98%.
Right. And that means we won't have to go through another review for 4 more years, instead of doing it every year. So by us becoming accredited, that's telling us that we're doing everything that we're supposed to be doing, and that they won't have to come back and take up all the staff time with paperwork and site visits and things like that. So Laura did a wonderful job of coordinating everything. Of course, she relies on the department heads and Claudia to give her information. So very much a team effort, but led by Laura.
Great job, Laura.
Geraldine.
Yes. Our staff has been working on budgets. Marty's a tough cookie. He's been on me nonstop getting his budgets for 2019 going, so our staff has worked hard on those. We're working on our winter spring brochure and programming. We held some successful events recently. Our Mom's Sun Night Out, the first one on Friday night, which was really successful. We had 36 couples. It seemed like everyone had fun. Friday 5K went off really well. The weather held out just for that little window of time that we needed, so we planned for that. The kite fly was rescheduled this past Saturday. It was an okay turnout, maybe 10 to 20 people came out, but those who did, it was a beautiful day to fly a kite. We're gearing up for our holiday special events now, so Halloween, like Jeff said, it's coming up this Saturday. We're ready to go with that, hoping for more good weather to hold out. And at this time, I'd like to welcome Mary Mucci and congratulate her and our aquatic team for earning the Platinum Award. This award is, they earned this from Ellison Associates, who's our lifeguarding program company. They come out 3 times a year and audit the lifeguard staff unannounced. It's very random, and they scored 100%. So only 10% of agencies of these clients, Ellis clients, achieve this award internationally. So it's a pretty big distinction, and we want to thank and congratulate Mary for a great job. Here, do you want to give that to Steve?
Yeah. It's not easy. As I spent years as an aquatic supervisor and never got a platinum award. So, you know,
So
it's a
it's way
big,
back,
it's
yeah.
a big,
All right, Steve.
Goes way back.
yeah, it's
Finally.
It's a great accomplishment, considering that, you know, Mary just graduated in May. She jumped right into it. So the nice thing is that she was very familiar with the pools and stuff like that. But it takes a lot of hard work, working with the lifeguards and everything. So excellent job, Mary. Excellent.
And also lastly, Mary just completed her AFO, which is Aquatic Facility Operator course. Just today, she just completed it today. She was there this week. So congratulations on that too, Mary. That's it.
Yeah. That was new business.
Okay, new business. Administration and Finance Committee, Commissioner.
I have a few things tonight.
With.
Yeah, really.
First, I have the Auditor's Comprehensive Annual Financial Report. Marty, you want to explain that a little bit? Or?
Sure. We have Ron Amon from Lauterbach and Amon to address the report. His firm audited us. It started around the end of the financial year, ended April 30th. His team came in around June to do an initial audit and then came back in July to do the final audit. And after that, we put the whole project and the financials together into a form that meets what they call a comprehensive financial report, which has to hit certain, it has to have certain papers and certain numbers, and it's set up in a certain way. So then once we do that, then Ron's team takes it, does a final review of it, and then once he's done with that, then we submit it for GFOA award, and then and Ron can address some of the findings and some of the issues of the report. So if you want.
Ron, you have the floor.
Good evening. As Marty said, we started all the way back in April, so thanks to Marty and others throughout the Park District, but it definitely is a team approach. There's a lot of people from our firm and Marty and his team, so we appreciate all the cooperation we get from the Park District and their staff. So in the comprehensive annual financial report, I'm just going to point out a couple pages. Marty alluded to it. At April of 17, that audit, it was submitted to the Government Finance Officers Association and received a very prestigious award. As I tell all boards, it does not comment towards your financial health, but what it does comment towards is that all the rules and restrictions and requirements in government accounting are adhered to. So it's a very prestigious award. It goes through 3 levels of review. And so to earn that award, the Park District should be very proud. Right behind there is the auditor's opinion. So all units of government by Illinois state statute required to have an auditor's opinion. Our opinion is clean or unmodified, which is the only opinion that you want from your auditors. And that opinion means that your financial statements are materially correct based on our auditing procedures. The one pages I'm going to point out with numbers on them is pages 9 and 10 in the audit. This is what we call your income statement, so it's your revenues over your expenditures for the 12 months ended April of 18. So on those pages, each fund is broken out, and the far right column is the total, and the third line up from the bottom shows that the Park District increased your fund balance by $668,000 for the 12 months. So that means your revenues and your inflows exceeded your expenditures and your outflows by about $670,000. So very positive increase to fund balance. The last comment I'll make then in the CAFR itself is your IMRF fund. It ended the year at about 90% funded. So a very healthy level to be funded for your IMRF plan. We also issued a management letter to the Park District. In the first comment, I know we got a little pushback from staff, but our firm is this is something that we put in all of our management letters. You have a fund balance policy. And in that policy, it talks about the levels of retention of fund balance across the fund. And at the end of April of 18, your police fund was outside of the policy. So we just like to make sure that the board's aware of that. And then the other comment in the management letter is a carryover comment we've had in here for the last several years. There's a new GASB, a Governmental Accounting Standards Board, that's going to take effect at December of 18 because you're changing your fiscal year end. And so we'll have to do a new disclosure related to other post-employment benefits. And there'll be some new footnotes and some new disclosures, and we'll continue to work with Marty on what needs to be done and how that needs to be adhered to make sure you're in compliance with the new standards. Oh, you did get taken notes? Okay. Okay. So if anybody has any questions about the CAFR or the management letter or the audit process, I can take any questions or comments anybody has.
Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I move to accept the recommendation of the Administration and Finance Committee to approve the comprehensive annual report for the fiscal year ending April 30th, 2017, and direct the Superintendent O'Brien to file the audit report with the appropriate agencies.
Aye.
Commissioner Smith? Commissioner White?
Aye.
Commissioner Coletta? Aye. Commissioner Mano?
Aye.
Commissioner Lee?
Aye.
Next, I have the Statement of Receipts and Disbursements, Resolution R0618. I move to accept the recommendation of the Administration and Finance Committee to approve the Statement of Receipts and Disbursements for the fiscal year ending April 30th, 2018, and to direct the Superintendent O'Brien to file the document with the appropriate agencies.
Second.
Commissioner White?
Aye.
Commissioner Coletta? Aye. Commissioner Mano?
Aye.
Commissioner Lee?
Aye.
Commissioner Schmidt?
Next, I have the Park Police. I move to accept the recommendation of the Administration and Finance Committee to authorize the disbandment of the Park Police and for staff to complete the necessary paperwork with proper authorities as soon as possible.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Great, so yeah, because we had to put something in there, and that's from a staff recommendation, certainly not something that you guys need to sort of follow. I mean, if you have a disagreement, we can certainly have that discussion right now. I mean, this is sort of how we now evolving rather than having two meetings. This is an opportunity to have that discussion. So if anybody has any concerns about that, we would love to be able to hear those. Maybe we can address those either tonight or at another time. But you know, if this is, you know, I sent something yesterday from Paderma that also pretty much kind of highlights our need to disband what we're doing. Some concerns. So just so that you know, we're not right now. We still have a police fund. There's we're still going to budget right now a separate police fund. We're just going to knock it down a little bit more, and then use park rangers or some other variation, just not park police, or we have responsible adults that can be out in the parks during peak hours, maybe sometimes outside of those peak hours. We're also putting responsibility on staff for making sure the building is secure. We've talked about using park staff on their way home, checking doors, those kinds of things. And we'll say, I talked to Keith about this, and in 3 years I've been here, we've only had one door left open. So, but in the future, we are just going to take that, remove the police fund, and put more in the operating fund monies for patrol, for lack of a better word. So, does anybody have any concerns with the disbandment?
Do we have a direction we're going in, park rangers or specific plan?
Just that we are, still looking at probably bringing on some kind of summer weekend peak periods, yeah. I mean, the weekends are nice, somebody that can have a second job, have weekends open, if we had some nighttime stuff, but, not a lot of sort of need for that. Because the lights are done by the field monitors, so turning off and on the lights, that's easily taken care of. If something happens, We have some local staff that we could probably call out, just that, hey, can you take care of that, those kinds of things. So,
And I guess my question is, do we have a specific plan in place if we disband this tonight? What happens?
I mean, as far as dropping right now, we're very limited on the number of hours that are available to us from the current patrol people. One of them, we've got, what, 3? And they all have either full-time jobs or other commitments at night, so we're barely using them right now, and have been since Chief retired. So we can have something in place before April. So it gives us time to, like, how are we gonna, we gotta do the job description, we've gotta figure out, some good training, make sure that, they know what the expectations are and what to do in crisis situations, if it ever came up, those kinds of things. But right now, our liability is heightened because we don't have that structure in place. Chief Simo said, look, you gotta get rid of it. Basically, is what he said, because just we don't have that structure that is needed. And there's an expectation that we have them, but we really don't because of their limited availability.
So from a risk management standpoint, we're better off
Without. Yeah. Yeah, and the stuff that came out from Paderma yesterday was, look, even if we had them and we agreed to do it, our liability with them is so great. So typically what you have is, full-time employees that are coming over here, so if they got hurt on our job and they have a full-time job, we're on the hook for workman's compensation, not just, but for both.
Let me ask you this, so how long have they been doing this for?
Probably since the beginning of March.
Yeah, probably like the late
My father started it back in the
60s.
Has this
No.
always been a concern
No.
about the liability, or is it
Like
something that's
yeah.
just come up more recent?
Just more
More
recent.
recent.
Yeah. So talking to Ed Dutton, who is corporate counsel for Burma, he's got tons of horror stories. Keith has horror stories about his own, Park Police in another place, getting in a high-speed pursuit with, regular police. Not that ever happened here, but,
It could happen.
yeah. But, we're not giving them sirens, we're not giving them police cars, you get the truck, with, proper identification, that kind of stuff, and they can patrol parks. And they should.
So is it more of a liability standpoint or a fiscal responsibility standpoint? Or both?
Well, yeah, there's a duplication of services, that issue, we could use those dollars elsewhere. Or just looking at the bottom line, so to speak, but really it's the heightened liability. We're probably one of the smaller park districts that have armed officers. And Ed said that it makes sense for like Forest Preserve Cook County or Lake County Forest Preserve, who has geographically they're spread out all over the place. That makes sense for them to have it, but we're 5 square miles, so it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense.
I think we're all in agreement.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough decision because you have guys who've been there and they're passionate about it and they want to do it, but at the same time, it's like, that's why I was asking if it's a liability or fiscal responsibility.
Yeah, I'm not sure that everyone, the officers that we have need it. Because right now, the guy that's acting as the coordinator, he's on lack of a better word, he's at another police department pretty high up in there. We've got one who's now hitting hockey season, and his availability at night is shot. And all the other ones are retired and says, why would I want to do this?
Yeah.
I think one thing I really have to stress out is the amount of training that is required and the expense to which we have to do it. And I would say, and Laura, correct me if I'm wrong, you said that our training records were pretty not up to date.
Right. The 2 part-time, let's put it this way, the last payroll between all 2, well, the 2 and 3, it was less than 9 hours a week. So,
But that is a combination of
Right.
we needing them and their availability.
Okay. Well, I think what people got to understand is if there's an incident in the park, you're going to call 911. That goes to the central dispatch for Morton Road Police.
Right.
So they would respond to it.
Right.
Right.
They did not receive
Yeah.
one phone call in 5 years. It goes
Yeah,
right to
because
90.
nobody would call the park.
But Mark, getting back to your question earlier, the plan, and what we've been talking about is to have like, park patrol, park security from, Memorial Day through Labor Day when the parks are populated and there's people there. And more so just be doing the presence like they were in the presence.
Right.
They can do the door locks, but by that time, staff is gonna be trained to automatically do that. So it's more of just being out there, whether it's on bicycles or cars, whatever it is. You know, when the police first started, they were there every day for, 6-8 hours. Then we cut it down to 3 hours in the wintertime. And then it got to the point where, you know what, you're really only needed when there's people in the parks. After dark, it's all Morton police.
So our current budget for this year was, we recall how much that was for the police budget?
What was?
The budget for the police?
What was it?
Yeah, how much?
70,000,
right?
Yeah.
No,
No, it's
no.
less than
Closer to around
50.
40,000,
Yeah.
50,000.
Upper 40.
Yeah.
But now the reason that we went over budget from, we made that transfer, and that's because when we do our levies, that's one of the accounts that we tell the county that they take out from first. So they didn't give us as much money as we had anticipated, so that's why the shortfall. Is there other things that you want to add?
That's correct, but also the board did pass the transfer
Right.
at the last meeting. So the report has been modified, and
Right.
the report you have right now is the actual one, and it doesn't have that binding in it anymore.
Right. So,
And statistically, am I wrong in saying there's only like 3 or 4 park districts in the state of Illinois that still have park police? Something like that.
Park police.
I think there's 6 total, and Rockford being one of them, which is, half of, yeah,
Chicago Heights.
yeah, and then some more of your, more
Yeah.
gang
Plus our
activities and,
police cruiser is
yeah.
band-aids too, so the cost, we have to do something.
Times are changed.
And I know, I'm kind of familiar with Niles Park District, and they just have someone that comes at, at the end of the night, 9 o'clock, make sure that, that everyone's getting out of the building and it's getting locked, just a complaint card. So.
Yeah, I think we're relying on staff, saying this is part of your responsibility. If we do find it unlocked, that we would do a proper disciplinary action, retraining, that would probably take care of it. But,
Just a double check, I think is good,
Yeah.
so.
And we're working on that plan, because I would like to see that plan once it's done.
Of course. Yeah. yeah, we had planned to do that over the winter, but
Right.
I mean, we could up it, sooner if you'd like.
Yeah, I'd like to work on it.
Sure.
All right.
All right. Okay.
Commissioner Coletta. Commissioner Randall.
Aye.
Commissioner Means.
Aye.
Commissioner Schmidt.